step back over. I don't know what's going on there, so we're gonna give me just a second here. It doesn't matter how hard you try to get ready. Your opening sometimes will just crash and burn. That's just the way it works. If you guys will just to confirm to me that the audio is working there. Okay, we're just having all kind of technical difficulties here, aren't we? So, all right. So I don't know what happened to the video. Video was working, then it quit working. That just seems to be technical stuff. So one of the things that I'm here to talk about tonight is round three of the congressional hearing, and then I'm going to go into a lot of stuff about what I've been looking at as far as like how many shots fired, the different sounds, all these different things, right? Because what's happening in the congressional hearing, I don't know if you're watching them, they're 4, 5, and 6 hours long. The first three were. And these congressional hearings seem to be being used as a platform for, I'll say the Democrat side is using it for gun control. They're using it for uh, basically to push their narrative, right? The Republicans, some are kind of asking hard questions, and then others are just really, really weak questioning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow through this pretty quickly because this isn't really as important as the videos and based on the charts and the structures and the different things that I'm going to show you, right? Because this is actual data that we're gaining and gathering real time as we move along. Because as it stands today, on the 16th day after the shooting, the FBI still, at this point, has not had any press release, right? So we're not getting the real information. We're not being told the real information, right? So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on round three of the hearing because I just want to go through it, let you hear some of the stuff so you understand what I'm saying. So the opening day of three, Chris Wray comes out and director of the FBI's opening statement about border and international terrorist threats coming across our border, and the threat of these international terrorists. Right now, I do want to reiterate that this is the umpteenth time that he is warning us that we are extremely vulnerable to internal attacks, and he's, as he said before, he's got red lights flashing everywhere. I think it's interesting, one, that they know a lot of people will be watching this, and I think it's very interesting, number two, that they utilize this time to bring that back up. And because number three, it's not really on topic of the attempted assassination on Trump, as we know at this point, because nothing has been brought up except for the threat Iran made against Trump, right, and Barr and the other people. But other than that, this is supposed to be some lone 20-year-old shooter that doesn't really know. No, he doesn't really know anybody, doesn't associate with anybody. He's got no special training. He's just some lone kind of, weird guy a little bit. And he just, pulled off the greatest thing in history. Somehow he outsmarted the best agency in the world to protect people, so they say, right? So Nadler, of course, Nadler comes right in and he talks about the people bringing up civil war. Those are the ones that are really inciting. They're the ones that are producing the rhetoric that's starting the violence. And again, I wanted to show you that video for whatever reason it didn't play, but I know that you've seen it. It's the one where Pelosi and all these different people and celebrities and news anchors are like, get out there and punch a Republican in the mouth. And, you got whatever her name is, the redheaded comedian holding the bloody head of Trump and all this stuff, right? So that's not what's causing the violence. It's not that. It's people warning that if we continue to go down the paths that we're going, if we continue to um, keep doing what we're doing, it could potentially push a civil war upon us, right? Now, I don't know how one that's a warning and the other one telling people to go out and punch people in the street and burn the streets down in the summer of love and all that, but that's what they use these platforms to talk about, and it's how they talk, right? Ray did respond that he's been talking about for this for a long time about the police officers being killed in the line of duty 1 in every 5 days. Again, off topic. Brings up Kamala DEI and then the FBI has gone down since DEI, right? Again, off subject, right? So Jordan comes in, talks about crooks flying the drone, approximately 200 yards from where the stage was, 2 hours before the event. No one noticed him. No one questioned him. Of course, this has already been well established. There was a fairly intricate little bomb that he had made and put in his car. That it did appear to be remote control, right? So he had this controller, had some buttons on it, but they still haven't confirmed if it worked. They still haven't confirmed what it was capable of doing. They keep talking about it. So again, Jordan's bringing this up, but we've already heard this the first 2 days, right? His phone was encrypted and difficult to get into. Again, something else we've already heard. So this to me bothers me because we're on day 3 and we're trying to get the answers, right? Now they act like this guy's phone is encrypted by some technology genius, and then of course they talk about these technology these encrypted. His phone's encrypted. It's encrypted. His message encrypted. Okay, so what did he use? Signal? I mean, or did he use WhatsApp? Those are encrypted. So so you're telling me that with the Patriot Act that the Big Brother can spy on us on everything that we do, but then when something like this happens and the FBI gets a hold of their phone, they struggle to get into it. No, my question is this: why are the politicians not saying that kind of thing? So you're telling me that we can watch people with the Patriot Act and we can see everything they're doing, but yet you can't get into a phone of a 20-year-old, right? Doesn't make any sense. So again, Lofgren, he's a Democrat, thanks Ray for his service and how conspiracy theorists make his job harder, right? Gun control, of course, came up immediately, access to weapons of war, assault weapons, and he says the ban needs to come back on assault weapons. Ray did say that it was purchased legally by his father, and then he sold it to his son, which he then later changed his answer and said that he transferred it to his son. My whole deal is like, why do we keep talking about this, right? Because whether it's an AR-15, assault weapon, weapon of war, whatever you want to call it, I often ask, when these people are doing this, why aren't they using like a deer rifle, right? I mean, you use a 7mm or a 30-06 or a 30-30, your accuracy could be much more dialed in from a much farther distance. So you're telling me you want to get rid of a weapon that has kickback and people a lot of times aren't very good at. I mean, these are, but you're fine with a deer rifle, a 7mm that can hit from 400 yards away, 500. Okay, sure. Okay, that makes sense. Now, do we ever talk about knives and getting rid of knives? No, we don't. But we just saw that there was a mass stabbing in the UK where 9, 10, 11, 12 people were stabbed. 9 were wounded, and 3 kids, I believe 6, 8, and 9, lost their lives, including the 9-year-old girl. I think just happened today, right? This was one individual, 17 years old, 1 knife, 12 people. That's more people than in most of the mass shootings that we've had lately. At least that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. I may be wrong. There may be one that had more than 12. But my point is, most of them are less than that. So what are we going to do? Are we going into people's kitchens? Are we taking knives? I mean, we're going to start cutting things with spoons. Where does this stop? And where do we start focusing on what the true problem is, which is the mental stability and the mental illness of people, which is deteriorating because they're depressed in a country that is being run into the ground. And it's very obvious unless you are maybe struggling mentally yourself to see it, or you choose not to see it because you don't want to think about what the alternative is, right? Issa, I think you say his name, Issa Republican, he got him to agree that Trump was a high risk asset. He asked if RFK's son, the son and nephew of a president and a senator, both assassinated, is high risk. He gave a generic answer, but of course he said yes, Ray did. And he brought up the Dems' nasty talk about the Supreme Court justices and the attacks on them and how they provoked it. Ray said that there is a right way and a wrong way to express things, and that it's the bad talking provokes the attack. So he agreed with that. I was a little shocked, right? But again, go back to the video that wouldn't work that I wanted to play you, and that stuff was it was like really grotesque, right? And really violent. Go out and punch somebody in the face today. Yeah. But isn't it amazing, even when, hey, go home, on the 6th, go home. We're not doing this. We're here for peace. And that somehow is twisted multiple times, trying to be twisted into, he was telling them to go to the Capitol and do their thing. But yet that stuff continually gets ignored. How do we even live in a time, in a moment, where that stuff can just get ignored? It's so mind blowing to me, right? And then in one of those clips, Johnny Depp says, how long has it been since this president has been assassinated, right? And the crowd cheers. Let me ask you a question. Why isn't Congress asking Director Wray right then, did you investigate those senators, those celebrities, those news anchors in that video? Did you? No, they didn't ask them. This is why I say I feel like a lot of times that these congressional hearings, anything to do with Capitol Hill, it's like watching a Hollywood movie, right? It's just to make us think that something is kind of, sort of, somewhat being done. Because again, I always ask, what is the end results? Who goes to jail? Nobody. Who gets held accountable? Nobody. Oh, well, this drug company had to pay $6 billion. Okay, they made 192 billion. So who gives a crap? Where did the 6 billion go? Oh, back to our government. Oh, that's it. Not to the people that suffered, not to the people that their families were ruined. None of that stuff, right? It goes back to so again, I ask, why aren't these senators, including all the ones that we like, MTG, Jim Jordan, Gates, all that, why aren't they asking these types of questions, right? Why aren't they saying, out of all those people in those videos that did make threats and told people to go commit acts of violence, how many of those have you investigated, Mr. Ray? Did we ask that? No, we didn't ask that. So Jordan, Jim Jordan, Ray confirms that Iran did have threats against Trump, and they for sure made Secret Service aware of that. I guess he just wanted to make sure that was clear. All right, so Johnson, Democrat, of course, brings up, he wants to bring up who Ray reports to, right? Now, the deputy AG who reports to the AG who reports to the president, right? So he said, well, let me ask you a question, Ray. If you had to report directly to the president, wouldn't it make your job harder? And of course, Ray, oh, yes, it would make my job so much harder, right? Then he brings up Project 2025, says this is Trump's plan. Says it is Trump's plan for the first 120 days that he is in office. Trump has denied this, knowing hardly anything about this plan, and says his plan is on his website, right? So I'm going to attempt to play this video. Hopefully this works, right? So I'm going to put this here. Bear with me. I'm going to have a lot of stuff I got to pull up, and I'm still trying to make sure I learn this stuff. So just hang in there with me. Let's see what we got. Let's see if it pulls up. All right, it pulls up. Now let's see if it actually plays. Okay, so I'm going to say this just so we're on the same page. This tends to go on, and this gentleman explains how so many people that are in Project 2025 are connected to Trump, and that they some have worked under his administration, and the list goes on. Okay, I did not get a chance to verify any of that, so I'm not going to play it because I myself haven't had a chance to verify any of that information, so I'm not going to put it out there. One of the things that I want to bring up, like right now, is if he's saying it's not my deal, and if you want to know what the plan is, then go to my website and look at what my deal is. All right, so again, now I want to say this: that what the gentleman said, I do plan on researching, and if I find it to be true, I'm going to report it because that's what I do, right? Gates, I'm not even going to talk about what he did. His questioning was, Gates is normally this real fire getter and super weak. Mr. Biggs, Republican, super weak. Schiff, of course, here we go. He goes, this is crazy. He goes, ask Ray if he would hire somebody with dozens of felonies in the FBI. Of course, Ray said, no, he wouldn't do that. That's not true. They've hired people that they were going to charge with a lot of felonies because they know how to do things. They may not have charged them with them officially, right? And Schiff said, well, you have higher standards than one of the political parties in this country. So we just talk about the rhetoric, right? That's pushing and making things difficult and making narrative and being pushing violence. And here are the leaders still doing it after it's already been brought up, and it continues through the entire hearing. So during the hearing where they are talking about this and saying it's a bad thing to do, they just turn around and do it again, right? So Swalwell was up. I don't even know how this guy's still in, right? With his girlfriend or wife. His girlfriend was a secret undercover agent for China. I mean, like, how is this guy still in politics? Oh, he didn't know. Oh, okay. Massey, Republican, weak. Jayapal, however you say the name, Democrat, brought up, of course. We got to bring up J6, right? Because that leads to questioning for this Trump assassination attempt, right? No. So again, we're wasting all this time. This is why, again, I keep reiterating. I believe that these congressional hearings, this Congress stuff, these things that are talked about are just up there to reiterate, right? Reiterate J6, reiterate taking away funding for the FBI, reiterate, you know what I mean? Like, this is supposed to be specifically about the Trump assassination. Here we are talking about January 6th. So the rhetoric from and members of Congress and easy access to guns. And of course, she's referring to the Republican Party. So again, and then of course, she brings up Trump 2025. Okay. Scallon, Democrat, Project 2025, FBI, DEI, and then blames foreign actors that will mess with elections. And there's going to be violence against election workers. Are they setting the stage for something? And what in the world does this have to do with the damn shooting? So here we are, an hour into this thing, and we haven't hardly talked about the shooting at all. Oh man, Sparks. Now I'm going to tell you something. She brought up the AR-15, gets a bad rap. She hit my point on the head. And isn't deer rifles in most cases more accurate? So are we going to advocate to take everyone's deer rifle? This lady, I think she's Ukrainian, actually, is where I think her accent's from. I'm not 100% sure. Don't hold me to it. I should have researched that. But my mind's been going 1,000 miles an hour, and you'll see why when I'm chasing stuff here in a minute. So Ray said, no, we're not going to do that. Okay. She said the bottom line is it was a security failure. It was a security failure. It wasn't the gun's fault, like it never is. It's a security failure, right? Just like January 6th. She did say that. Okay. Now, Macbeth, Democrat, only one question. I thought, oh, wow, a Democrat with only one question, but boy, did she lay that one out. Political violence is never good, then brings up January the 6th, political workers, Pelosi's husband getting beat up by his weirdo friend, and threats against FBI agents, and then Trump to make it inclusive, right? So she included the assassination on the former president. Bring it all together, right? Acts like she cares. And then, of course, brings up the AR-15. Isn't it enough to nearly lose the former president of the United States of your party? That was a good one, wasn't it? Like she really cares. Then said that they are only 12 votes short of banning assault weapons. She brought up, of course, the school mass shootings, named them each, and how many kids and teachers died. And then said, then Trump almost lost his life, and it's everyone's fault for not banning it. Really? So it's everybody's fault for not banning a weapon that somebody chose to go get a weapon. And we all know if somebody wants one, it don't matter what laws are in place, they're going to go get one. And then they went and committed a crime, and it's my fault. It's your fault. It's your mom's fault. It's your cousin's fault. It's your brother's fault. It's your best friend's fault. Yeah, it's our fault. Not the shooter, right? And not the failed security, and not the complete 100 bust of the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies that were out there. And when you see the video that we're going to pull up in a little bit, this stuff is really going to rock your boat. Then, of course, she wants to plug, she has a new bill, the Go Safe Act, focuses on parts for semi-automatic weapons and tracks them all. So, you can order certain parts, you can put one together. Nah, she's going to put a bill in that wants to stop all that and track it, right? Not stop it, track it. So, Ray, would you rather your officers or someone your officers protects facing someone with a semi-automatic weapon or a standard, listen up, or a standard handgun with no accessories attached? Well, that's an interesting choice of words, isn't it? All right. Of course, Ray said, I don't want to comment on legislation, but we don't want people to have high-powered weapons, right? So he's saying that he doesn't want anybody to have high-powered weapons. Do you understand where this narrative's going? It's interesting. And again, when we get to the videos, that we're going to have a lot of questions and things aren't adding up. And yet this is when they're using the time to push the J6 narrative, to push the assault weapons ban narrative, and the list goes on and on, right? Bentz, Republican, weak. Ross, Democrat, again, brings up foreign actors trying to cause a deep divide and stoke the far right to take control so they can ruin our democracy. So again, we're sitting here talking about this dangerous language being used by the leaders. It's one thing for you to say it or me to say it or somebody. We're just nobodies. But when you have the people that are leading districts, they're leading states or the country, and they use this rhetoric, that's how you polarize. That's how you cause divisiveness. That's how you cause violence, right? Microsoft has warned us that multiple governments seek to destroy our elections, right, Venezuela? Like we do in other countries? Okay. to sow discord and create division. And of course, he had to bring in the race card. And Russia is the reason that we're seeing racism during the elections. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Oh my man, these people are bat shit crazy. They're just bat shit crazy. Klein, I forgot, whatever. The father bought the weapon and then sold it to the son. And then Ray says, yes, there's paperwork. Sounds weird to me, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it's like in Pennsylvania, but I know you can carry a gun at 18, open, out in the open. You can carry it on your shoulder, around your hip, whatever. I just find it weird that if a dad's going to give his son a weapon that he bought in 2013, he gives it to him in 2023. It's a 10-year-old deal that he sells it to him at first, and then now he says he has paperwork, because later he says he transferred it to him. So which is it, Ray? I mean, you're supposed to have definitive answers in your investigation because you are the most powerful in the country, right? And you should know. Crooks posted on a gaming platform about watch his grand performance on the 13th. But Ray said that was not Crooks. That was created by another gamer. I believe the day of, like after the event happened, to pose like the other guy did in the glasses in the car, saying he was Crooks and that whatever, So again, you people that do this, you need to be looked at because you have a very sick, twisted mind too, right? Do you seek attention that bad that you're willing to do something that ridiculous and that dangerous? And yeah, that blows me away. So on 7/6, there was a laptop believed to be his that Google searched how far was Oswald from Kennedy. That's a pretty crazy search, pretty damning. That tells you that he's planning on doing something pretty crazy, right? So Dean, Democrat, AR-15 was bought by his father legally in 2013, transferred in 2023. I just said that. So one of the things he said, he got off 8 shots in under 6 seconds, right? There were 8 shots. I'm going to get into why they don't seem like they may be from the same weapon. I'm going to get into a hypothesis. I'm going to show you a lot of stuff here in a minute. So let's burn through this. We're not going to stop. Let me get through this part, right? All right. So Armstrong, Republican, super weak. Ivy, Republican. He made it sound like that he had talked to the lady that had the glasses on, who had pulled out her phone and started recording, that became a kind of a woman, and everybody was questioning, like, who is this, and started saying she was Cheadle, and then said she was the director of something else. But anyway, she was part of the group that was getting the stage ready and putting the stuff up and all that stuff, right? She said she made it a point to Ivy, that when they went out, because there was a group that went out to visit the site, so they talked to many people that, by the way, the FBI, Secret Service, and many others still had not talked to by that point, and that had been 11 days, I believe, afterwards, roughly. And she said she wanted to make it a point that when they came to decorate the stage and set all that stuff up, there was nobody there vetting anybody. So they were free reign. They were walking around the stage. It's like she said, anybody could have done anything. They could have stuck something somewhere. They could have, she said there was basically no security during that time. And she just said that seemed very odd to her. She thought there was going to be at least them taking her name, her driver's license, whatever. Yeah, that to me was very, very crazy. Now, that was the night before, right? But wouldn't you have, and early in the morning, wouldn't you have people there checking who's there, documenting who's there so that you know if something happens, at least this is somebody you've got to talk to. Van Drew, Republican, said Trump that has said that he really doesn't know much about it, about Project 2025, agrees with some of it, not with the other parts of it. We just watched that video. He said he doesn't endorse it over and over, and my colleagues sit here and say he does. Knows that he doesn't, but it's politics over truth. So again, this gets back to the leaders of our country are using rhetoric that the other person, like Trump, has said, it's not my plan. But yet they continue to label it Trump's plan. Biden even put it on X, I believe, if that's even still up. Trump's plan, did a commercial on it for 2025. Now he's saying it's not part of it, and they're pushing it anyway. He also said New Jersey. So this is the governor of New Jersey. He said they picked a site that was extremely difficult. The campaign did, right? On the ocean by the pier, had the Ferris wheel in the background and all that, right? Very iconic spot. He said what struck him as odd is on that particular rally, they had over 100,000 people. This was the largest rally ever in New Jersey. Who would have known, huh? And he said that they had agents from all levels, city, state, federal, every level. He said they had agents and teams, sniper teams everywhere. They had police in boats on the ocean. And everything went smooth. No issues. So he said, how many qualified agents were skipped over when Cheadle was told that she had to have 30% of any category, whether it's white, brown, purple, green, woman, man, right? How can that be the safe way to do that? Now, I want to bring up something because I talked to somebody today that told me that they applied for the Secret Service, and she told me, she said, let me tell you something. This is the standards. The Secret Service, you have to be 18 or over. Wait a minute. They want to make it in every state where you can't get a gun until you're 21 and blah, 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 blah. But you can join the Secret Service at 18, just like the military. You can get your butt blown away for the rich man's war, and you can have a gun, but you need to be 21 if you're at home. Right? Yeah, that's how it goes. All right. So 18 and above. You have to be willing to move to DC. You take a 2-day polygraph. You take a 1-day psychological test. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to have a high school diploma. And the application is 1.5 pages. 1.5 pages. To put it in context, if you go apply at the TSA, they have a 16-page application. Secret Service, protecting government assets and diplomats, 1.5 pages, but TSA, 16 pages. All right, just thought I'd throw that in there. All right, so of course, more Republican brought up the Russiagate, the laptop. We all know how those went. How do we restore the trust of the American people who let a 20-year-old with no experience get within 150 yards of the most popular person potentially in the world, at least talked about the most, right? How do we restore their faith in you being able to keep this country safe? Ray, we aren't in charge of the rally and the investigators. We are the investigators afterward. Not everyone will like our results on what we did, but we do our work honestly. Really? Russia? The laptop? Honestly? Huh. They show up to people's houses for something they say politically to apply pressure. They go to people's houses to tell them they're to pick up a bump stock when the ruling hasn't even happened yet, and tells them it's against the law to have it, and they're there to collect it. Really? Honestly? All right. Hagman, Republican, she brought up the fact that people that report directly, such as the deputy assistant to the president, has had ties to Hamas. Again, I need to vet that, so you may need to vet that before you take that. So take it with a grain of salt. Nope. She said, well, I guess it has to be true because she said, is that an investigation even on your radar? Answer, no. Really? That's interesting. So did the FBI investigate the Russia collusion based in election interference? Ray says yes. So is the FBI investigating is the FBI investigating Biden being forced out of his political position and to drop out of the race as an election interference? Nope, not to his knowledge. It seems almost like they're kind of selective a little bit in their investigation. Kind of? Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like it. Um, so as early as February, it is said that the FBI has reestablished its connection with social media companies. Now it is said it is up to the company and not the government on what they choose to censor. Ray says, hey, we're just passing information along to them. It's up to them what they decide to do. I'm sure there's no implied pressure there. I'm sure that, and I'm sure there's no tie to the Democratic base to these social media companies. It's not like their owners are the biggest donors to the Democrat. No. Okay, we'll get over that, right? Now Hunt is a Republican. He said, what were the encrypted apps? Or what was encrypted? We talk about this encryption, right? So Signal's encrypted, WhatsApp encrypted. But if somebody opens your phone up, they could just click on your WhatsApp or click on your Signal, and they could just read your messages. I don't understand what this whole encryption thing is. And of course, Ray didn't either because he didn't have that information. Interesting. All right. So one of the things I thought was interesting was anytime Ray was challenged on his stuff, he got very snappy, very like a dog biting at somebody, barking really aggressive at somebody. He did not like to be challenged. I saw a major ego deal going on there. So, all right, we're moving on, and then we're going to get some video. We're going to get some juicy stuff, okay? So one thing I want to discuss is a lot of people have brought up this this Uric guy, right? So let's take a look. Got a gnat that just flew into my mouth. Isn't that cool? That's cool, right? Right in the middle of your podcast. All right. So as a lot of y'all know, this Maxwell Uric has been being pushed. One of the big deals was this Tyson Draper show. Maxwell Uric was the Butler Farm show property, was on the Butler Farm show property. I did some investigating. This guy that has the wild hair and the beard and the gray shorts, his name is Eric. His girlfriend posted some stuff. He got arrested because he got in a fight with another dude. I watched the video. They were mouthing back and forth to each other. And apparently after they went off of, or she cut the video, they got into a little fist fight and he got arrested. So that is not Maxwell Uric, however you say it, right? So this is the kind of information that when it gets out, it can really cause a lot of problems, right? And this is Uric, and if I can't blow up that picture right there and show you, but it's definitely not him. You can go to Into Thin Air and look at their deal, or go to the Tyson Draper show. You can see it. You can clearly see that's not the same guy. And making up this shit for clicks is what gets us in a lot of problems, right? Now the next question that keeps let me bring this up real quick. Where to go? Look off. No, I didn't. I guess I didn't load it. But I did want to bring this up. There's a Uric armory that's being brought into question, and there is finally the guy that owns Uric armory, because Tyson Draper went to these people's house here in this video, right? And I'm gonna just show you a quick clip of it. Hang tight, hang tight. Okay, can somebody comment? Are y'all hearing the volume correctly, or is it real choppy and real messed up? Because this the audio to me sounded really bad. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it real quick because it's for whatever reason the audio is not working really well. So jumping into this has led to a whole rabbit hole. The guy Tanner Urick is the guy that owns the armory. He's written out a letter, and I'm not going to read the whole entire letter, but it basically talks about who he is, the stuff that the threats and the crazy stuff that's been happening to his family since this was aired, and people were saying this was him. He's, like I said, he's simply denying that it's not him. His name is Tanner Urick. Yes, they share the same last name. They are in no way related. He doesn't know the guy. Nobody in his family knows the guy. So this is where investigative independent journalism can get kind of sideways when you go after the wrong people, right? And then especially what's crazy is he posted that this Urick Armory, which is basically done out of a home. Again, he makes certain types of parts for guns and stuff like that, and then put their home address, put their Google Maps, all this stuff. And so when he goes up in this video, he confronts this lady, and she's real restricted. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. No, I don't know him. And then he says, well, you're part of the family, right? Maxwell Urick. And she said, well, I'm family. Well, she was saying she was family because she just heard the last name and didn't know who the hell he was talking about, right? So, all right, no volume, no sound on clip. That's awesome. I think it's very interesting out of the blue that I am having some major issues here. Hmm. Interesting, interesting. Well, I'll have to check into that. I don't know what's happening with that here. So I don't know. Interesting. We'll see. So that kind of makes me really nervous because I have a lot to show you guys. So just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so that seems to be working. I'm just going to jump to something real quick, and I'm going to ask you guys to tell me if you hear the audio just fine there. So y'all just let me know if you hear it fine. Oh wow! So whenever I play it, shoot, this is going to cause a major problem because the rest of my podcast has everything to do with a lot of audios. Um, and I have no idea what's causing that because whenever I play the video without sharing the screen, then it works just fine. So I'm going to stop sharing it. I'm going to kind of click around here. Just bear with me, guys. I apologize. This must be some kind of glitch in the app. And if not, then what I'll do is I'll do my best. I'll just go and explain it to you verbally the best that I can, right? I mean, that's all I can do. So we'll give it a shot here. Okay, let's see if that comes through. Nope. All right, so I'm going to have to do my absolute best to explain this whole thing to you. Um, this is terrible. I cannot believe this. Okay, so I can't show you all the video with all the proof, this is going to be tough, but I'm going to wing it. So we're gonna do it that way, right? All right. So basically, I was watching a gentleman that was really helping break down a lot of this stuff. Um, Oh, so, okay. So the audio is poor. Um, wow. So I'm going to assume that this has something to do with a, no, someone said it's all good. Okay. So I guess at this point, can you guys hear me personally? And that's, I guess I'll just go from there. I don't know what's going on. You know, you gotta love technology, right? Yeah, you gotta love technology. I'm assuming there's some kind of glitch with the app that I podcast on, and then moving streaming to both YouTube and to Rumble. I'm going to assume that that is, but really, I may end this in just a minute, and then I'm going to redo it on Thursday because the stuff that I have to show you is super, super important. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that because I've been talking long enough anyway. What I'm going to go over on Thursday, this stuff is super, super important. This is, we're going to listen to sound wave ballistics. We're going to look at the shockwave ballistics that show you the rounds being fired. We're going to look at a new clip that has come about from somebody that was literally directly in front of the ADR building. I'm sure some of you have already seen it, but you are able to watch right in front of the building, right? And so I want to go over all these different things. But I tell you one thing I will touch on real quick. So I got a hold of this right here, which is Butler ESU. So this is the Donald Trump detail. I guess I should probably share my screen. That way you can see it. Okay, so got a hold of this. This basically breaks down the operation, where people were supposed to be stationed, that type of thing. So I'm going to go through this on Thursday because we're going to talk about, you know, the operational side of it, where people were stationed, what their jobs were, and then just some really, really some things that don't make any sense. And this is one of the major ones right here. Okay, so they had 7 sectors that they considered to be extremely important for them to cover, right? In section 1, right here, this is the main stage and the audience. As we know, the stage was right about where that green and yellow line meet. The second sector, right, which is here, this is the cow barns. This is where the Trump motorcade was staged. This is where Team 1 and Team 2, the sniper teams, were on the buildings. Then we have stage 3, which is the entrance of the event up here. Stage 4, which or sector 4, apologize, which is, they labeled this the pond. I'm not really sure because 5 looks like it had a little bitty pond there, but there's a pond here. That seemed to be important. And then section 5 was where everybody parked. That's this huge purple section here. Everybody parked on the grass. And then number 6 is back here. This is where EMS, fire, and police park. And then number 7 was the dairy barns and the hangars. And again, there was many buildings, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. I wouldn't say one would get on right there. So that's 28. Oh, I missed one right there. 29, 30, 31, 32. So 32 buildings roughly right in that sector or directly across from it. And I didn't, of course, account any of these over here. But here's what is so mind-blowing to me is that this is the building that Thomas Crooks was on. That building right there. You could hit that stage right there from there with an 8 or a 9. That to me just seems absolutely mind-boggling. that 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 wasn't a place of sector to cover of order of importance. So that is just that to me is just something I need to open up. But again, we're going to talk about shockwave sound, ballistic measurements. We're going to talk about distances, line of sights, and then this new video brings in a huge deal. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what's going on with this. Then I'm going to go ahead and record that, post it as a part 2 to this, and then put all that information in there, because what is super important is that you see the videos that I'm talking about. You see the draw up of the building, the size of it. There's so many important things that are involved in these videos that I wanted you guys to watch and see. I just can't, I don't want to say it without showing it to you, because that's how important these videos are. So I will do that. I will make a part 2 to this. I'll just put it on probably tomorrow. And then you guys can check back for that. And then I'll reiterate it on Thursday. We'll go back over it. And then also on on Thursday, I'll have more information, because of course, daily this is unfolding. Daily this is coming out. And this is something that I think if we don't get to the bottom of this and we don't get the truth to this, then we're in big trouble, right? So I will figure out what the technical difficulty is. I have no clue. I set up everything the same as before, so I don't have an answer to that. Whenever I play a video on my side without sharing it to you guys, it works just fine. And whenever I try to bring it onto the screen share, so I'm assuming this may be a technical glitch or difficulty with the company I use to stream that. So it's been about an hour anyway, so I will get that posted and look forward to seeing you guys. Remember, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Also, if you go to that link there at the bottom, there's some merch that I put there. I've never done that before. My son talked me into doing it. It's something he wanted to help with, and I thought that'd be a cool thing to do with him. It's www.tinyurl/Harley Jackson merch, MERCH. And these are actually ideas that he came up with. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys on Thursday. Again, I apologize about the issue. Not sure what it is, but I'll make sure and try to have it fixed on the next one. You guys have a good night.